Hey guys, let's get more news about Steelers, but first, don't forget to subscribe and leave your like. First call, Bud Dupree already looking forward to his return to Pittsburgh, concerns for two Steelers opponents. Tuesday's first call features some troublesome news for two upcoming opponents of the Pittsburgh Steelers. A former Steelers linebacker is anxious for his return to Pittsburgh as an AFC rival in 2024. An ex-Penguin has helped his team advance to the NHL's Western Conference Final. And the Pirates are hoping to exploit a specific trend against their next foe at PNC Park this week. Bud Dupree is already looking at his team's game in Pittsburgh in Week 3. Now a member of the Los Angeles Chargers, Dupree was on Chris Long's Green Light podcast, via Steelers Depot, and the linebacker discussed his scheduled homecoming to Acrisure Stadium on September 22. It's always a great homecoming to go back to Pittsburgh, no matter what team you're playing for, Dupree said. If you played in Pittsburgh, it's always good. It's always a great feeling. The fans always show you love. The whole coaching staff that was there when I played is still there. They never change. So it'll always be a good opportunity to see those people. Actually, Dupree's former defensive coordinator, Keith Butler, is gone. Head coach Mike Tomlin and some other veteran assistants are still on the staff, including current coordinator Terrell Austin, who has had that job since 2022. He overlapped with Dupree as the secondary coach while Dupree was a Steeler. The 31-year-old Dupree is also gearing up to play against the Steelers' promising young tackles, Broderick Jones and rookie Troy Fautanu. That's if Fautanu wins a starting job. Young guys, they come out hyped, Dupree said. You gotta let them know early on that, I'm a grown man and you're still a kid. You gotta make sure you're telling them that. But at the end of the day, they're two first-rounders, so they're going to be talented. Dupree was selected in the first round of the 2015 draft. He stayed in Pittsburgh through the 2022 season before leaving for the Tennessee Titans in free agency. He spent 2 years there before joining the Atlanta Falcons last year. Dupree's Chargers also visit Atlanta in Week 13. A pair of Steelers opponents in 2024 are dealing with problems. Cincinnati Bengals wide receiver T. Higgins has no immediate plans to sign his franchise tag. That is according to Adam Schefter of ESPN. Unless Higgins signs the tender, he won't be able to work out with the club at organized team activities on May 28 to 30 and June 3 to 6. Minicamp is scheduled for June 11 to 13. Higgins wants a long-term contract extension. He and the Bengals have not been able to come to terms. The 25-year-old out of Clemson is the only one of 8 players who was tagged that has not worked out a multi-year contract. The deadline to do so is July 15. He'll make $21.8 million on the 1-year franchise tag if he eventually signs it. Higgins must sign the tender before November 12. If he doesn't, Higgins won't be able to play at all this season. The Steelers and Bengals don't play each other until December 1. As for the Denver Broncos, they've likely lost linebacker Drew Sanders for most of, if not all, of 2024. News 9 in Denver reports that Sanders tore an Achilles tendon during the team's off-season program in mid-April. The report indicates that Sanders has had surgery to repair the injury. He is expected to miss between 6 and 9 months. The Steelers and Broncos play each other in September during Week 2. Sanders played in all 17 games, starting 4. He was expected to get more playing time this year with the departure of Josie Jewell to Carolina in free agency. Pittsburgh Steelers urged to make one major move with Justin Fields before 2024 season. The Pittsburgh Steelers made the move to acquire quarterback Justin Fields from the Chicago Bears during the NFL offseason. It was a move that was a bit of a surprise after they had already signed Russell Wilson early in free agency. Kenny Pickett was also shipped out of town to the Philadelphia Eagles. When it comes to Fields, there is some belief that the Steelers view him as their potential long-term quarterback. Being able to let him learn behind Wilson is a wise decision. Now, there are questions about whether or not the Steelers should sign Fields to a contract extension now. If they were to do that, they could lock him up to a very team-friendly contract while they develop him. Mark Kaboly of The Athletic spoke out about the situation and thinks that the Steelers cannot afford to wait to give Fields an extension. He explained why he thinks the team should extend him now. If the Steelers use 2024 to determine whether he is the long-term answer at the position, they would lose all of their leverage by allowing him to hit free agency. The prudent thing to do is extend him now at a reduced price to ensure that he will be on the roster in 2025 without a huge risk to the salary cap. The Packers did that with Jordan Love, albeit before the fifth-year option deadline. Fields certainly has the potential and talent to be a franchise quarterback long-term for the Pittsburgh Steelers. If they can help him to develop to his full potential, he'll be in town for years to come. During the 2023 season with the Bears, Fields showed flashes of big-time potential. He ended up completing 61.4% of his pass attempts for 2,562 yards, 16 touchdowns, and 9 interceptions. Fields also racked up 657 yards and 4 touchdowns on the ground. All Pittsburgh Steelers fans need to keep in mind that Fields put up that production behind one of the worst offensive lines in the entire NFL in Chicago. At just 25 years of age, Fields is still young and has plenty of time to figure things out. Working with a quarterback that has a similar skill set like Wilson will help him as well. Extending him now and seeing what they have long-term makes a lot of sense. Expect to see the Pittsburgh Steelers strongly consider a new contract for Fields. Waiting would simply drive the price tag out for what could end up being their future anyway. Taking a gamble and giving him a new contract now does make the most sense. Patriots OT Chukwuma Okorafor hints he's getting better coaching than with Steelers. His tenure with the Pittsburgh Steelers ended on a rather sour note, and now as a member of the New England Patriots, offensive tackle Chukwuma Okorafor isn't exactly holding back about his time in Pittsburgh. Okorafor, who was benched in favor of rookie Broderick Jones ahead of the Week 9 matchup against the Tennessee Titans for reportedly something he said on the sideline late in the Week 8 loss to the Jacksonville Jaguars, signed with the Patriots in March after being released by the Steelers in late February. Now at his first OTAs with the Patriots, Okorafor took a subtle shot at the coaching he received with the Steelers, specifically from the offensive line coaches. He stated that in New England he's receiving more coaching based on technique, footwork and more from Patriots' new offensive line coach Scott Peters. He's solid. He's big about technique, Okorafor said of Peters, according to the Boston Herald's Doug Kyed. I've had some coaches in the past, whether it's college or NFL, it's just run and hit kind of deal. But he's technique, hands, feet, everything. So far, it's been good. During his time in Pittsburgh as a third-round pick out of Western Michigan in 2018, Okorafor spent one season working under Hall of Fame offensive lineman Mike Munchak, who also happens to be one of the best offensive line coaches of the last decade or so in the NFL. Munchak left the Steelers ahead of the 2019 season to be closer to family in Denver, joining the Broncos as the offensive line coach after being a finalist for the head coaching position in the Mile High City. The Steelers promoted Sean Serrett and hired Adrian Clem as the assistant offensive line coach. And you fan? What do you think of the situation of Chukwuma Okorafor? Leave your opinion in the comments.